Okay.
Would you all please rise? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lisa, were you standing up?
I am.
I hope so.
I doubt that.
You got a flag?
Yeah. How we doing?
Okay, we're at the special meeting today for the purposes of accepting a bid on the aircraft doors in the main hangar. Would you call the roll, Augie?
Farnham.
Here.
Lawton.
Here.
Luddington.
Here.
Patrick. Bruner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
And Voigt.
Present.
The Phantom's here.
Okay, is there any public comment for this meeting? No, I'm gonna hold you off. Poor Ralph.
Okay.
Well, hearing none, the purpose, to get right to the purpose is to accept the bids, or the bid for the replacement of the main hangar doors. Do you have that information, Augie?
I do.
Okay. We did get clarification from the state's attorney, and so no issues with it, especially being that it did go to a county office and there were no competing bids. So he sees no reason why. Is that correct, Augie?
That is absolutely correct. I have a copy of it if you guys would like that. You don't want one? You guys want one?
Your word good.
I do need one, because I need to give it to, well, I do somewhere, but I don't remember where it's at. Okay. So the bid is from Alco Overhead Doors LLC of Arthur, Illinois. They have a quote, and Tom has checked it over, and that's what he needs done, and the bid is $38,876.27. Okay, so that gets us an insulated door, all the trolleys and all the pulleys and all the motors and everything that we need to operate those doors safely.
It was four doors?
There's 3 doors, 3 big doors. Okay? Questions?
Is this the company that's got, do they have an office over by Oakland?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Tom has handled
It
most
just
of
sounds
that.
very familiar, a good familiar.
Okay.
It's a big factory in Arthur, a real big factory. Just within Arthur.
Do you want me to call Tom to see if we can?
Nope, no.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the bid, please?
I'll make
Okay. Phil moves and Russ seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, so that was the purpose of the special meeting, so I need a motion to adjourn. Russ moves, Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay?
Oh, I forgot about her.
Okay, we are adjourned, and we'll come back into,
Smile.
That'd be nice.
we good? Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the study session. We have 3 different entities here today that want to speak to us. I would like to ask Jeremy from the ambulance service for you to, do you have any report or anything that you would like to say to us this morning?
Things are going smooth. Had a few growing pains, but we're getting them smoothed out and ironed out, and everything's going good. Response times have been decreasing, so.
And I told them that you had not been able to get here the last time because you had calls.
Yeah,
So,
had calls and then had work out of town the next time.
okay.
And there comes trouble.
Okay. All right, any Okay, Adam?
Yes,
Just heard from Jeremy. Do you have anything to add to your reports from last, a week and a half ago?
My new truck is here. It's got our vinyl on it, so it officially says Horizon Health. I've got state inspection Wednesday, so we're going as fast as we can to get everything done. Basically, if I can get everything from the state Wednesday and make a trip to Springfield Thursday. My goal for in-service is September 1.
Okay.
Messed up our breakfast this morning. Truck shack.
Look at this, it's all
Knew that,
good.
didn't you?
What's that?
Any
Messed up
questions?
our breakfast at Track Shack.
Not now.
Any questions of Adam? Thank you guys both for being here. Lisa, Amanda Miner is here, so do you want to preface this at all, or what do you want to do?
No, thank you, Amanda, for coming.
You're welcome.
So, as you're aware, Amanda and I have been discussing her request for funds, and I had asked Amanda to come to our study session today to give us a little bit more details about the program, as well as what funds she's been able to obtain and where our funds, if we provide them, would actually be applied. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for letting me come and speak with you. I made some,
Got that one.
right, so I had that just in case, and then if you look past that report, this is, I'm sorry, Lisa, I didn't know you were gonna be here, I would have emailed this stuff to you. This is this year, the numbers this year, and all the way back to 2018. We were here, we did provide the program in 2016, but I didn't go back that far. I figured the last 4 years would be fine. As you can see, the numbers have increased. And then if you can look, it's the rec, we've always, in the last 4 years, we've done the rec.
What's the
And
rec?
where it used to be the
YMCA.
YMCA.
I
Yeah,
just want
okay.
to make sure.
Okay, I was like, they have a summer program, and so even though those children do pay to go there, I just felt that it seemed that it was a program that we could still provide food for them because they all qualify. Every kid in Edgar County qualifies, and so we were able to do a closed site at the rec on all these years. Then throughout these years, the first 2 years we did at Twin Lakes, and there were different providers throughout those 2 years. There were all kinds of different providers. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I only printed out 7. But then the last 2 years on the Tracks Cafe provided the food for us. So you'll see that it goes from June, July, and August, and it's split up between the rec and Twin Lakes and Track Shack.
Amanda, can I just ask, going to the 21, which is the last column on the right, the Track Cafe actually provided 4,194 meals for breakfast, and then lunch was 4644, is that
Correct.
correct? And then you just go down, so they supplied meals for the 3 months of 18,587?
Correct. Mhm.
Just so I'm reading it right.
And I do want you to realize August they only did 1 week in August, so that's why you're like, oh my gosh, how are they doing like 3,000-4,000 and then
What does the lunch consist of?
it is approved through ISBE, so they have to have so much of a protein,
Okay.
of a meat, so much of a half a cup of vegetable and fruit. They have to have milk. They have, so yeah, there is
It's
a.
dictated by the state. basically.
Absolutely. It's-
Okay.
This program, ISBE, the summer meals program is the same, it's facilitated through the same criteria that the school lunches are.
Okay.
So a lot of schools it's called a seamless program where they just do it throughout the whole year.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but other entities can do summer meals.
Okay, on the rec and the tracks on 21, did they come in and get their meals, or did you send folks out from those
We
facilities?
deliver, and I will tell you that, the last 2 years, if you notice the huge increase in numbers, that was a big seller. When COVID came around, they didn't want in-person meetings, so they said, okay, you could do delivery. Last year, delivery, the teachers were very, very, I think they really missed the kids, and they wanted to and see the kids and make sure that these kids were getting because last year in the spring, they didn't have school, some of these kids, they were at home, and that's what this program does, is during the summer, there could be a lot of kids that don't get meals, they don't have the means to even cook meals, so this was just giving them an opportunity to have that meal, that hot meal available every day. So, so the teachers volunteered their services to go out and deliver to these kids and stuff, so that cut costs drastically because they were doing the
I
volunteering.
did that the first year, and you don't have to do it very often to see how important it is. The places I delivered, terrible
Yeah.
living conditions for some of these kids. This is a great thing.
And then this year, obviously the teachers are back to school, so they, they're like, well, I don't think we could do it that much, and so that's fine. We had this program, it's called Workforce Development, and Edgar County has workforce development through the Charleston office.
Correct.
Douglas County has it through the Champaign office. I tried to work through the Charleston office for Edgar County because we have the program in Douglas County, but I was trying to do it through Edgar County. It's CEFS is who the umbrella's under. I kept running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And so I was like, okay, fine. And I was discussing with our Champaign representative, and I said, since this is a Douglas County program and we're facilitating this, can I go through you and with these kids? And he said, absolutely. Well, by this time, it was already the end of June, trying to get paperwork, doing all this stuff. Finally, the last week, we were able to get everybody in the program. But what this program does is, since those kids receive free and reduced lunch, then they were able to get on the program, and the program pays for their hourly wage. So I was not going to have any cost, and so I planned the summer with that going as a lesser cost, because they were going to be paid through that workforce development. However, I did not realize that the paperwork and everything, it would take so long. So, however, I will tell you, because I know my daughter was one of them, and a lot of her friends participated. I can't say enough about On the Tracks Cafe. They are, Keisha and Justin are godsends. And the kids, they were amazing, and the work ethics and all the stuff. And I think, Lisa, we did 2 videos. We did 2 YouTube videos, and yeah, and so I think it's a give and take. I think not only are these kids getting a hot meal, these kids that are delivering are seeing a whole nother aspect to working, whole nother aspect to how these kids are living, and what they can do to help. So, questions, sorry?
Are these figures for
Yes,
both
so,
counties?
no, that is just for Edgar County.
Okay.
Yeah. We were able to, in Douglas County, we were able to do a lot of our I guess they're not volunteer, a lot of our kids on the workforce development program. Because we started a lot earlier. Now, the benefit with this workforce development program is these kids, even though they're in, with the Champaign office, that Champaign office will follow them through. And so next year, if, you know, hopefully, I'm talking with Jeremy Larson, and hopefully we can, you know, kind of let Edgar County take over. And so hopefully with that program, those kids, it wouldn't be any cost.
Yeah, I'm on the workforce board, this never came up at all. This never made it to any agendas or anything else, so.
What the
I'm-
cost?
Yeah, some of the costs that you're getting from your Champaign office.
Mhm.
I go to the board meetings in Effingham, and we never heard anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, cause I did the represent, I don't know, the worker, I don't know if it ever got up to, cause I kept asking her, I'm like, can you like talk to your, this person, because yeah, there were just a lot of roadblocks, and finally the last one was, she's like, if they're delivering and actually driving as part of their, she's like, we can't do that, we can't
Like
pay
in one
them.
office and not the other.
Can school districts contribute to this program?
They did, well,
Because COVID, they got a lot of money.
Yeah.
COVID could that be used to,
yeah,
Pay for some of
they did, we have received 24,000. So very grateful of that, and that's what I thought, cause I thought by that time I would be able to do the workforce. However, yeah, it did. And again, I mean, as a health department, we've received funding, Douglas County, or Edgar County has been, you know, there's all kinds of COVID funding out there. And so that's what, ultimately, yeah, it's not the best choice, but there are funds available that I can write for and get some other, but I just was hoping that, you know, if there was.
I'm on the health department board, and it was brought up, I think at our last meeting. I can't really say much because I won't get in trouble. You probably understand what's going on, right? I don't need to explain it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's not good.
So did you deliver to all the school districts in Edgar County?
So, I know, it was so confusing. Because Shiloh, like Shiloh District, has Newman
Right.
kids in it, they were part of our Douglas County program. So, Joni Smith out of Hume, another godsend, phenomenal. She did our Shiloh Hume area and then also Kansas. So I worked with Cindy Spencer because she had a few places in Kansas, so she did Kansas. We didn't do a lot, but we did with On the Tracks Cafe, Chrisman, and Vermillion. So as you can see, the mileage did rack up because we were doing Chrisman and Vermillion. I reached out to the Chrisman superintendent. You know, again, there weren't that many kids. I want to say there's probably like 5 or 6 locations that we went to. But yeah, he was not receptive on it, which was, I mean, that's fine.
But District 95 and Unit 4 did.
Mhm.
So you feed his kids.
Sure, I hate to say
can't say
because
about that. I understand that.
I think, I don't know how much they want it out, that if they did contribute or not. So, but
It's
So-
a public
That's a-
record.
That's a good thing, it's not bad.
No,
I think so too. I mean, I really, I have been very pleased with some of the, we did set up, an account, because On the Tracks Cafe, had a lot of people that wanted to donate. And again, don't get me wrong, whatever was great. I think they ended up getting like $300 and some dollars or something, but just, you know, people wanted to donate, so that there is an account that,
Yeah, 50 of them mine. And my partner that made me do it.
so, I mean, I'm grateful, thank you,
Well,
they
there's,
did, yeah,
I didn't realize there were other people just kicking in like that, huh? That's a
Yeah.
good deal.
yeah, I wanna say it was, yeah,
Will
not pretty
this
good.
be sent to Janet Mason at the health department? She,
I did, oh,
this whole thing.
oh, no, I
The whole
have
thing.
not, I just.
I know you've contacted her and
Yeah.
talked to her, but
Uh-huh.
I think this might help a little bit too. Yeah, if she actually saw this, at
Okay,
least the board see it, maybe you can make copies for the board, go to that board meeting, in September, I think.
Yeah.
Which may help.
Where are you paying this deficit out of right now, the 23,000?
Right now, it's not coming out of our levy. It will come out of other, COVID-related items because with some of our COVID funding, we can pay and help people out if
Sure.
they're on quarantine, if they're,
Yeah.
so that was my plan, I was going to do that, so.
Crispin didn't want to kick in anything at all. Dr. Ackman, was he the superintendent there?
Jim is, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I don't know the whole, I don't.
Dr. Ackman.
No, I don't want to get anybody, no, it's fine.
Well, what's cool, Jim,
Right.
it's a friend of mine.
Yeah, he ran across that.
Yeah, I mean, and he may, I mean, I don't know who actually did the 24,000, so it could have been all that he could have been in with that. I just assumed,
I just asked a
It was-
question, it's not that big a deal.
okay, sorry.
Don't get upset.
What are the prospects for this next year? It sounds like it's sort of dysfunctional.
No.
I mean, not the program,
Oh,
but the funding of the program.
actually, next year, because the funny, as far as like the food and all this stuff, this is just
Oh, I understand.
kids traveling and their mileage. So the mileage will have to be compensated somewhere. However, the kids working, the workforce development, if they use those same kids, which there were, I wanna say there was probably about 6 to 8 that are on that workforce development, and good, I mean,
Yeah, we see him at Track Check all the
Good.
time.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we said, yeah.
But a good bunch of kids, you're right.
so, I think that is gonna, that will drastically cut. I mean, all the labor, it would be done. Mileage, that's where, yeah, the mileage would have to be compensated somewhere.
Are you planning on doing this again next year? That's the rumor, that was
The-
brought up at our meeting, last meeting we had.
okay, I would really like to see Edgar take this over. I would really like to see,
Which they should,
Yes, they should.
they should.
Yes. And we need to see, let the board understands
That's right.
that.
but it does not
If we
have
want
to be
to do
a,
it, they'll need to see this first.
yeah.
And then realize that we need to take it over ourselves, but,
All right.
well, I can't say much.
And but it does not have to be the health department. A lot of places,
I
it's
realize
the
that too.
schools,
Right.
it's,
Right.
you know, it can be any
Right.
non-profit, well,
The
I
health
don't know.
department could organize it.
And honestly, it's not, I mean, I tell you what, there is, the track, if they decide to still go with the Track Shack, which Dustin and Keisha are
Well, where else
like
are gonna
more
go?
than willing.
Where else are gonna go? In Paris?
Yeah,
McDonald's, or,
we actually did, I mean, there were a couple of years that we were and we would do like Subway one week, Monocle's one week, yeah, all, but yeah, the way they have it organized, the way they were working out of the little mobile trailer unit, and yeah, they were doing phenomenal. So yeah, I would really like to, because rightly so, my county board, Douglas County Board, not our Board of Health, the county board, is kind of questioning why we are in Edgar. And I'm like, it started because hungry kids are everywhere.
oh, yeah.
And I can't sit by and watch, you know, hungry kids in a place where I live if I can do something about it, and I can do something about it. So now I think we've done stuff about it, and it's like in a place where it can easily be passed on. This program was here before we stepped in. However, it just wasn't, I don't know what the good word would be, but it just wasn't advertised. It was a poor kids meal system. And we put it as, you know what, no, it's a food program for everyone. So we were able to do it and put it in the mechanisms where everyone would be able to get it, and it was not stigmatized. And I think, you know, helping everyone, because no matter what, the money you save on this and getting hot meals to kids, the money you save, then you can spend in Edgar County somewhere. You can spend it elsewhere, you know, you're saving it on food. You can spend it somewhere else and elevate the taxes.
If you haven't seen the video on Facebook, you need to see it. Really good.
Yeah, oh my gosh, we have some great interns that, yeah, there are some very talented kids out there.
Other comments or questions?
Yeah, they're,
I think our concern, and it's been, as we discussed at the last meeting, was how is it gonna be arranged so that it's a community project and that it's handled ahead of time rather than coming up with the deficit afterwards.
absolutely, yeah.
That's what I meant as far as this motion, is the funding
And-
has been an issue.
And it probably wouldn't have gotten as far, I don't like that it's in that far of a deficit, that's not my plan. It was, I was waiting on the workforce and I did not realize it would take that long, but it took every bit of
And then they
like 4 to
said
6
no.
weeks. Well, that, and then even then getting them registered and getting, I mean, there's so much paperwork, there's so much stuff for going to the Champaign one and get, like I said, we started with that like end of June, beginning of July, and I just got people paid the last week of August.
There's no reason why Edgar County cannot run their own program. You shouldn't have to do it.
So, next year, if Edgar County does take it over, then we're not working through Champaign, we're working through Coles County.
You can, but I don't know if this program would work through Coles County. He said since they're already in that program, you could still do the Champaign one,
Okay.
those kids.
Yeah, that would
Now,
might be-
getting new kids in it would probably not, but if you wanna go through Coles, yeah, that's something you can definitely try. They just,
Well, I need to call the executive director and find
I
out.
was gonna say, you got a line
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah. And what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can start working for
Now.
next year.
Yeah.
absolutely, and that, yeah, absolutely. And
So you need this money, is that what you need?
I
From
would,
somebody.
Sounds like my wife.
Come out of slush fund.
Oh, that one guy that says we got a slush
Just take
fund.
out of slush fund.
If this, then our concern, we're gonna pay this, you think, is that what we're
We
thinking
should have a
about?
fund
It's up to
somewhere.
the 7 of us to figure out what we're gonna do.
can you take it, like, did you get ARPA funds? Are you getting ARPA funds?
I don't
The
know
re-
what ARPA funds are.
The the-
Recovery?
Yeah, the
Well, we got
recovery.
recovery, yes.
that's- I
But
just-
we have
You have
a
all
lot
kinds
of
of
other, I
plans.
mean,
Yeah,
everybody.
absolutely, I know.
Everybody wants a piece of
I
the
know.
action, okay?
Oh, and
We
it,
do
and
have,
to,
we do have a few other bills to pay.
yeah, and to get it all qualified through the, yeah.
Well, this isn't an issue to get this meals program, our listed as one of the programs. So it's not a problem to get this listed. It's just what the board's
No,
pleasure is.
Probably worth coming along to our county board, or health department meetings.
I would be more, I can come,
Okay.
I can definitely come if you,
I think you should.
I don't think you
You guys
should.
should work on
I
that
just tell you.
separately rather than,
Because
okay?
that's fine, that is perfectly fine, I
I
will,
can't say a lot, but
Well, let's do-
absolutely.
let's-
I think you
let's
probably
say
get the
anything
idea,
at all.
right?
I
You
don't
probably
get
get the
I
idea.
don't get the health department what the problem is.
What's your pleasure, fellows and ladies?
Did you have a
Well,
question?
no,
Are you-
if this is what they need to keep this going, I'm in favor of it, period.
Need to- Can you find the money in the budget to do that?
And
Okay,
that, my
That'd be my
recommendation would be,
point,
let's
but
just
money-
get it done.
yeah,
I
it's well
appreciate
worth it.
We can't act on it
I
today,
understand that.
but we can set things up. We can get it on the agenda
we had it on
and
the
make sure
agenda.
that, I'm
We
sorry.
tabled it last meeting, didn't
Right, but
Yeah.
we'll make sure it's on the agenda again, and then it can come off the table.
we? Okay.
And then, we can move forward with it. We can, we'll make sure that, what kind of check is that we get? Augie?
Excuse me? A check.
Check. What do we call it, what, out of system?
Oh, a demand check?
Demand check.
Yeah.
We'll get a demand check cut.
The day after the board meeting.
Right, and we'll get going on it, okay? Amanda, thank you.
Oh, wonderful, thank you
And,
so much.
I'll probably be talking to you about, making sure I know who to get a hold of over at the Coles. I'd start with the executive director, but I'd like a little bit more background, so
Absolutely.
I know what's going on, okay?
If you need some help on our health department trying to take over the program in the summer, let me know and I'll do the best I can.
Is that what your goal is for the health department, or are you the
Well,
schools?
it's iffy, that's the problem.
Okay, I was gonna say,
I
'cause
think that's where we would
That's what
start,
we like to do.
and that they should coordinate it with the schools.
Right, that's my
That's what I think.
okay.
But you indicated that Dr. Larson at District 95 is
In-
on board.
On some of our conversations, he had questioned whether we were gonna continue, and I said, if there is a feasible alternative, what I want you to realize is you don't have to do this program as great as we are,
Mhm.
you know?
I understand that.
And I really would hate to give it up because you can, and there are multiple schools that do,
Mhm.
hand out frozen meals for the whole week on Monday. And these kids, they don't have stoves, they don't have microwaves, they don't have, you know, how are they eating frozen foods? So, I would, yes, I wanna give it up, but I really wanna make sure that we have a great,
Well, you
Seamless.
served over 21,500 some odd meals this summer. We can't just pull the
Right.
chain on it.
Right.
It's
thank you
important.
so much.
We know
Oh,
that.
Thank you, Amanda.
thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lisa, for arranging all this, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ralph, do you want to, we have a construction management firm here that would like to introduce themselves to us. Ralph and I have talked, I think Ralph's talked to quite a few of you, and maybe you'd like to do the introductions of Narmont? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's fine. It's all right with y'all, I'll just stand. So again, I'm Ralph Weigel. I've worked for Garmon for 31 years. Pretty much had every seat in the place at one time or another.
Sorry. Thank you.
Can't help but say that's a tough act to follow. It's, on the,
Well, if you'll work for 23,000, I think we can
Yeah.
arrange for something.
Where do you think that's gonna happen?
anyway, like Jeff said,
Nice try.
he and I had a conversation. We've known for a long time that you're gonna have to do something about your situation with your jail. And he was gracious enough to ask us to come over and talk to you a little bit about the company and the jail experience. The jail world's really an odd place these days. And we know that arguably we're probably the preeminent jail builder in the Midwest right now. In the last 5 years, we've had 16 under contract, thousands of beds, and are very in touch with what's going on in the marketplace, which is a really odd place right now. So, are all of you familiar with Garmon at all?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, out the hospital.
Yeah.
And, are you building the jail in Terre Haute? Where's that at? Have they started on that? It's supposed to be,
Right behind the mall.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
And it's due to be finished in March.
Okay.
It's interesting too. Did you follow any of the fight over building it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of it.
So it was a big, originally the study came up, they thought they needed 700 beds and they ended up building 500. And we were with the sheriff last week. They've got 360 in-house and about another 40 farmed out right now. So they're at 400, and in jail classification, when you're 80% full, you're full. So effectively, if they took those inmates today and moved them into that new jail, they'd be full on day one. So it's a sad statement on our society, that's what it is. So you're familiar with Garmong. We were started in 1923 in Terre Haute. That's still where we're run out of. We've had a good history here in the community. Like I said, we've been out to hospital probably pushing 15 years. They've done the majority of their projects and built a lot of other stuff. When Simonton Wendell's came to town, we built that for them. Paris Ford, Marshall Town Hall. I mean, just a lot of stuff in the community, and a lot of our folks have lived and worked in Edgar County, most notably the Dunlaps. I brought some paperwork to leave with you. As I said, the jail world's pretty unusual these days. There's only 2 or 3 architects that do it. One of them's here today. And you know, it's kind of a small community. We all pretty much know each other because it's just so specialized.
We can't talk to an architect today. God, no.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
okay.
Because we're,
Personal.
no, it's just
It was a
because
coincidence.
we're
I didn't
in,
know he was here.
Oh, you're trying to,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna have an RFQ going and
Yeah.
I can't
No, I understand.
have any conversations with architects.
So, and I remiss in not introducing Lance Gassard. Lance is our vice president of all construction throughout the company. Been with us a long time, not 31 years, but a long time. And could probably, if y'all got any specific questions about the jail construction business, he certainly could answer those. What I would just like to offer as you go through the process, if we can be of help in terms of anything related to the project, you know, we're just, 30 minutes away. And
Most jails you built 1 story, or you ever build any that's maybe 2 or 3 stories, jails?
Most of the time, they're single story. A lot of times there'll be a mezzanine space in it, and in the actual pods where we put the housing, 99% of the time, those are 2-story.
I see.
So there's some efficiency there when you're watching, you can see 2 floors pretty easily.
Okay.
And if I may, Ralph, just a quick, what do we do as construction managers? So,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, so a lot of times, you'll go out and you'll hire a design team. So that design team, their job is to take their knowledge of the codes and of what your team is requesting of them. Example, number of beds, are you putting a sheriff's office in the space? Are you gonna share EMS space with it? So they'll start to put that on paper. What we do is we look at all the market trends, and as they draw, we're putting pricing to them. So it's the example, if you're at the grocery store, the architect's kind of filling your cart up, and I'm the guy over here saying, hey, we need to go with the Great Value brand ketchup over here because you're paying 3 times more just for the name brand. So we give you that grocery list as they're designing, so we can really project what bid day is going to look like. So if you hire us as a construction manager, there's different mechanisms, but most of the time, we're not actually going to be the ones out there building it. We're going to be on your side of the table, helping you manage the budget, setting the schedule, and really showing you how to package it up to get the best value. An example is in Sullivan County right now, pricing escalation is no secret. So we saw lumber skyrocket, but lumber has come, at least from an index standpoint, back down. But right now, all the steel prices, so structural steel members and sheet metal, they've kind of gone through the roof, as well as copper and some other things. But what we're doing is we're projecting those trends, and we're saying, hey, client, let's not go to bid right now because we think this market may soften up a little bit here in a few months. So we try to help time that so we're getting a good value on bid day as well. So there's probably 1,000 other things that we do inherently along the way, but big picture is we're really there by your side to show you how to get the best value for your money and to work with the design team to do that.
Excellent. Do you know, are you intending to use construction management?
The decision has not been made yet, but we've had a couple firms come to us. I think you're the first firm that's come before the board, but they're out there. Sure. I lean towards it, but that doesn't mean the other 6 are gonna lean towards it, okay?
I'm gonna leave the list of the 16 jails that we have done in the last 5 years. All but one used construction management, and the one that did not was the City of Indianapolis, Marion County Jail, which is kind of an oddball, because it's a $500 million deal, and not quite 2,000 beds. We're on that project doing the cells, all of the pre-engineered or the prefabricated cells. That's a good point to discuss. When we say the steel cells, are you familiar with what we're
Yeah,
talking?
prefabricated.
So it comes in on a truck and you
Yeah.
set it in place and
Yeah.
plug the electric in the back and you got a finished product. Right now, if you order a steel cell, you're probably 12 to 14 months before it will show up. And there's only a couple of manufacturers that are serve this part of the country. So it's probably gonna get worse.
Is that the cheaper way to go, rather than like without brick or stone or something like that?
We evaluate all of that at bid time. So right now, what we're seeing, so to answer your question, it depends on the market, right? So right now, what we're seeing is we have a project that has a lot of prefabricated steel cells, but those steel cells, like he described, there's only a couple manufacturers.
Okay.
Well, as their pricing's escalating, what I do is I work with the design team to say, hey, I've also seen some other modular cells out there, and then I'll price up building it out of a masonry, reinforced masonry, and we evaluate all those on your project again, so ultimately you can be an informed buyer and you know what you're doing.
So which are better, the Hobbs or the?
I would tell you the steel cells
Okay.
are what we see 90% of the time, because they're efficient, they're durable, they're proven, but it's all about pricing, right?
Okay, yes, sir.
But I think just to bring close to it, what you would get if you hired Garmong as your construction manager, a couple things. You're gonna get somebody that's local, that has to perform well, because we can't go off to some city far away because this is our home. You're gonna get somebody that's sitting at the table that probably knows more about jail construction than any other company in the Midwest right now. And you're gonna have someone sitting at the table that's on your team. I mean, our interest is to serve as your representative to make sure that you get the best quality, the best pricing. And as I said, if you look at the way that most sophisticated buyers are buying, that's what they're doing. So
Thanks, Rob.
I'm gonna leave this.
I did want to say one thing. When my experience with construction management was with building civic centers in the 70s and 80s. And rather than having a general contractor that you bid, you hand everything over, that's done, and then if there needs to be flexibility or if there's financial problems, it's a little bit more problematic than it is with construction managers. They're more nimble, they bid things out in order, if they have to change orders. I mean, it just leaves a lot of room for flexibility and winding up with a good product.
In other words, you don't have to have one, is that what you're saying? But it's
You
good
don't have to
one.
have a general,
But
but
it's good to
if
have
you
one.
don't have a general, then you need a construction manager who manages the different phases of the construction.
Makes
Handles bid when they're due. If there's a problem with subcontractors, you have direct control over that rather than the general would. He may not tell you about problems that they have or don't have, okay? So, I mean, that's my experience, but.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but we all need to be comfortable with whatever direction we take, and this is part of the function of having Ralph in today and talk about what they can do and what they can't do, and we'll have other folks in from time to time too, okay? Yes?
So what else, as far as, construction management, does that include, like if we would hire you to maybe recommend on what style of jail we're gonna have, or I guess, do we have to make a decision on what we want and then you come in and say, no, you're making a mistake on, I guess, trying to understand.
I can take that question. So it actually happens, you won't have to know exactly what it is you want on day one.
Right.
And it happens in a slower process than you may expect. So what happens on day one again is we'll sit down as a team with the owner, the architect, and your construction manager, and you'll start to provide information. We need to accommodate X number of beds again. And they'll start sketching just big diagrams, bubble diagrams, so we can start to figure out the square footage.
Right.
At this time, we still don't know what the exterior structure is gonna be, whether it's brick, metal building. What we'll do is, you'll probably also have an idea of how much money you wanna spend. And yes, that's when we'll start recommending to say, okay, if we wanna achieve a $400 a square foot number and accommodate your request, we probably need to go pre-engineered metal, some metal siding with block wainscot. Or you may say, hey, I want something that's more durable than that, so we can look at precast options. But again, you don't have to have all the information on day one. It'll really get built at the table with you, and we'll be providing pricing feedback, and you may say, okay, look at a precast building, and I'll say, hey, that's $500 a square foot. You say, can't afford it, how can we start to tighten it up? And that's how the thing will take shape. Those budgets are happening continuously over a 6-8 month period, however long it takes to design it. So there'll be lots of input.
We had one civic center that they didn't use them to start with, a construction manager, and they had like $3.2 million to bid. And the board and the architect put together a plan, and it was gonna cost 5.6, I think, or something like that. They got a engineering, or I'm sorry, a construction manager firm and worked with the architect, and it pulled it into what they successfully built. So, using it with the architect early will help a lot of missteps, I think.
Yeah, compared to the story that you just told us, it doesn't make any sense to bring a construction manager in after the plans are done. You know,
Okay.
most of them hire the architect and the construction manager pretty much at the same time.
Makes sense.
And I'm gonna leave a package for each of y'all. I would tell you that we've done most of Rose Hallman's work for the last 10 years as their construction manager. We've done a lot of Purdue's. These are, again, sophisticated buyers, virtually everything for Union Hospital, and it just seems like a better mousetrap, so.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question in the hospital. How do they wash the windows? I mean, when you go in and look at that, it's
They were gonna talk to you about that.
Not me, I'm not gonna do it. Do I actually wash the windows?
Yeah, they did. And I'll be honest with you, that particular front glazing,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what method they use, but there's two. Either they use their aerial lift,
Okay.
or a lot of times we put davits in the roof where it's actually like pipe sleeves up there that are built out of steel in the roof, and then you hang your scaffold, your mobile scaffold
Okay.
from it, and you kind of buzz down.
I just wondered how they did it.
I thought the same thing the first time I walked in, so. Thank you. Thanks for
Thanks,
hearing us
guys.
out.
Appreciate it.
Should ask that question.
Be safe going home, man. Good to see you.
Be careful.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll go to regular order now. How about Andy? Have you heard any more on the boiler in the jail?
There's a guy coming tomorrow to look at what, the size that Paris Refrigeration looked at, and he goes, that boiler's really big for that place, in the jail. He says, I don't think you need one near that big. So there's a company coming tomorrow and take a look at it.
And then you were, I think the board also asked you to get Sycamore involved.
I will, yes. I wanted to see what these guys said, and then what was Sycamore?
Did we hear back from the company in Southern Illinois on the roof? You know, we were wanting them to,
Not yet. We're still waiting to hear from them. Aaron talked to them, and that was just last week, and then they're, yes,
okay.
okay? So, where that's concerned, yes.
So we'll send tomorrow on that, and at least to have some information to go step 2 with it. So, that's it.
Catman, What did you want me to ask him, Phil?
Me? You're not funny.
You know, talk to Andrea,
Yes.
the numbers are down. Numbers are down. Some lady from Terrell came over and got some dogs for adoption, so dropped her numbers. She's also having some type of program, I think it's this Saturday, it's gonna be on Camp 2, to show dogs, I guess, and try to get some people to adopt them, so that should drop the number down also. So other than that, everything's
How are you guys doing moving forward with the
not good.
neutering and spaying program?
I talked to the one out east on 150, and the price they wanted was a lot more than what we can get somewhere else. Andrew, so I'll go talk to him too. I just kind of miss him.
Well, the vet that lives in Edgar County but actually
Right.
practices over there,
I
have
think
given her a price.
$60.
$60.
I think out here, they gave me a figure of $120 an hour, which is kind
Yeah.
of high.
But you guys need to come up with what kind of figure we're gonna
Right.
subsidize.
Well, I would need to work on the criteria
Well,
to
that's
give out a
fine.
voucher, so,
It's pretty clear in the law,
okay.
what you gotta go by, but I'll let you and Andrea figure that out.
He's working on it, so.
Right. Thanks. Russ, you have anything? Augie? We're an exciting group, huh? Carl, do you have anything?
No, I was just wanting, I don't remember your first name.
Kevin
Kevin.
Meyer.
Didn't you say that you guys, your company was working in Vermillion County, Indiana?
Yeah, we just-
Are they getting ready to start on that?
They have started.
Because I was by there yesterday and I saw a bunch of construction equipment there and ropes and everything, so I figured maybe they were starting.
Yeah.
So they're just adding on to that,
They're adding on a pod,
right?
like, I guess to the south of the existing jail, and then we're completely remodeling the existing jail. So the sheriff's department is actually out in one of those trailers, believe it or not, with the sheriff and his staff.
Really?
Yeah, and it's getting completely, they're gonna add on about 5,000 square foot of administration. So, I mean, back when these jails were built, especially in the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s, that was before computers, cell phones, really good breathalyzers, just all that stuff. And, and like training nowadays, video arraignment, they didn't have a space for all that.
Right.
I mean, really, like when we did Posey County down south, all they really had was, they had a sheriff's office, they had a deputy sheriff's office, and they had 2 secretaries. That was all the administration they had, but that's all they needed back then. So, yeah, it's a pretty major job over there. And if you guys would ever want to go tour it, that's my job, so I can take care of that. It's not very far. How far is that from y'all?
We're
45
Where'd you-
minutes.
Where you
Vermillion
went
County
by?
Jail.
Vermillion County.
It's not very far.
Is that the one that's up on 63?
Yeah, north
Yeah,
of Clinton.
40 minutes at the
Yeah.
most. I was in there back when they first built that, and I haven't been there since, obviously. But, yeah, I was in there when it was very first built.
You weren't a convict, were you?
No, he was taking convicts in at that point.
Actually picking them up, bringing them to our jail.
I've got a brother-in-law.
Hey,
Carl, I've got a question on 911. Do we need to sign a new agreement with them for a new dollar amount, or what is that?
She was gonna get it, but,
Okay.
yeah.
So-
It was a slight increase, it wasn't a big increase, but it was an increase.
Well, I thought they were gonna start paying for one of the new jailers too. I mean, dispatcher.
They are, but other costs have went down. So the total figure, for this first year, it's only 6 months of the dispatcher's salary.
Right.
So it really didn't increase that much. I don't remember, I don't know have the figures. But anyway, next year in December or January, it'll go up another $20-some thousand because you'll have a full year of salary.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, she was supposed to type all that up, but
I just wanted to know whether we were gonna.
But it's just
formally
going to basically be a 6-month
do it. Okay,
agreement.
so that'll need to be on the agenda, I assume, too. So, okay.
Oh,
Lisa?
Yeah, two things. One, is the building contractor still in there?
Well, he is not.
there's an old guy left here, that's all we know.
Kevin's here sucking on.
Right up over.
Probably your age.
Southern
Okay,
Indiana,
because,
Hoosier.
this goes back to the conversation we're just having on the Vermillion County, jail addition. Did he mention, I didn't hear, did he mention how many inmates that is supposed to house?
Yeah, it's like 140 to 160 total.
Right.
The new
Okay,
edition?
because-
Yeah, well, the total new.
Total. Total, old and new?
Yeah.
140?
Well, but like the old, what we're building a new pod, you know, that'd be the double story with a mezzanine, so that, you know, you set a cell on top of a cell. But they're not all, like, some of them will be, because of you know, segregation, some of them's gonna be a 2-man cell, some of them's gonna be like a 4-man cell, some's just gonna be dormitory. So, you know, like your short-term inmates, or you people, your oldesses, come and go, they don't need to be locked behind a door. I mean, they'll be locked behind one big door, but they'll be locked up with 24 other guys in there that's coming and going. But you also, you got to remember, you got like, hopefully 2 or 4 rubber rooms. You're gonna have, like, everybody calls it the drunk tank or the holding cells. So that all counts. But it's just like what Ralph said, once they get 80% full, legally they're full. And that's hard. I wish he would have explained that more, and I will now. You can't put men and women together. You can't put druggies with some other, like, sexual offense or whatever. You gotta keep these people separated. So it's just like, you get, like, somebody gets hauled in for murder, you can't just put him in a dormitory cell with 23 other men. You gotta separate. So it's really a complicated mess for the sheriff's staff to get all that stuff done. That's the reason for the 80% rule. And I agree, it makes sense. I hear it all the time. Hope that might help.
Does that help, Lisa?
Yeah, I happened to have conversation with the previous sheriff of Vermillion County the other day, and this came up. And so when I hear 160 in Vermillion County, Indiana, versus 60 in Edgar County, Illinois, I just wonder if there is more conversation that needs to take place. That's a very disparate number for 2 counties that are not that different in population. That's just my observation.
And I've noticed that too, mainly because reading the Terre Haute paper, you know, like Sullivan County, you know, they've got issues with their jail, but you notice a lot of these counties similar to us, they have twice and sometimes 3 times as many prisoners as we do, which I don't know, I guess I don't understand why.
Maybe it's the difference between Illinois and Indiana and our judicial systems and such. And if that's explainable and understandable, then that's fine. But it just, those numbers really caused me to think we needed more conversation on the topic.
And I think, I know part of it is a lot of their people that are sentenced to Department of Corrections over in Indiana, they don't have a place to go with them, and a lot of times the counties are having to house these DOC people in Indiana, more so than in Illinois.
That is very true. There's a lot of local jails that are housing like ICE inmates, federal inmates, you know, and they're getting a fee for that. But even with that fee, a local jail can house an inmate a heck of a lot cheaper than the state government can. That's a proven fact.
And I know the governor in Illinois has to sign something the other day that after their contracts run out, no Illinois jails can house any of those federal ICE prisoners and stuff like that. He's done away with that. I know there's another state that's done the same thing recently.
Well, these are questions that we continue to need to ask of our experts, whether they be engineers or architects or construction managers, because they'll have experiences. We need to nail down whether that's an Illinois thing or what exactly it is.
Well, I think you have to compare the type of population. I mean, you can't say the population we have in Paris is gonna be the same as the population of Danville. There's a lot of difference in the type of people you have.
Well, of course, we're talking about Edgar County, Indiana.
For
Which-
Marion County.
I'm sorry, for Milligan County, Indiana.
Clinton.
Clinton.
Clinton and
which
Newport.
We're talking,
You know, it's,
Is their population
yeah, so they're 1,000 less than we
less than
are.
we are?
Yeah,
It's interesting.
but they're housing they're building 160 or 140 bed prison, so.
And again, I'm talking about that's total.
Yeah,
That's not just the.
right, that was what they're gonna wind up with.
Yeah.
That's
Or-
quite a bit different.
Worst case.
than what we're-
Administration,
Yeah.
jailers have to have and all that.
Okay, well, these are things you need to make mental notes of.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. Anything else?
Yeah, I did attend the supervisor assessments meeting the other night. I don't really have anything to add on that though.
Okay, I'm sorry. I let her know I wasn't gonna be there because I was out of town, but I'm glad you were. While I'm talking to you guys, I wanna let you know Wednesday night this week is the Farm Bureau lunch, dinner for thanking public servants. So is there anybody that, I've let them know I'm gonna go. Are you gonna go, Lisa?
No, I'm blissfully not anywhere near there.
You're not gonna come in from Florida?
No, I'm not.
All right. Okay, they're gonna be disappointed.
I hope to attend next year.
All right, I'll tell them. If anybody else,
We gotta figure out what's going on
right, we need to let them know like
today.
today, yeah.
Or the bus trip.
It's at 6 o'clock.
I still work for a living.
Okay.
That's all you retired
Coach
kids.
high school golf.
It's at the building, at the Farm Bureau building in the basement, okay?
Go in the back door.
Go in the back door.
Bus
right.
people try to go in the front door. You never see a bus driver that can't find a door. It took a while to get us
Not
on.
real sharp anyway.
The budget process is ongoing. We've already got some of the departments have turned in their budgets. We're just about completed on updating the sheriff's budget, so it'll be accurate. We had a meeting last week where Don and Vicki and Pam and I met, and we're gonna get that all squared away. And Derek, by the way, Derek's back in town. He was on vacation. Can't think of anything else. We got anything else hanging fire right now?
What's another name for our slush fund?
We need to go into a closed session real quick to talk about contracts, okay? Contract negotiations, not labor, regular contract negotiations. So, is there a motion to go into closed session?
We're not gonna do anything when we come out.
Yeah, we're not gonna do anything when we come out, so, can I have a motion to get us in? Andy and Dan, seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, did you have any questions? Okay. Okay, anything else come before the study session? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Andy moves, Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, nay. We're adjourned.